Okay, we've got another phone call. Hi, you're on the Real News.
Hello?
Hey, how you doing today, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. This is Bill Anderson with the Citizens Forum.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to talk to Ms. Foxx about our support in foreign governments. We are sending millions of dollars to Pakistan, supposedly for that government to secure our border with them in Afghanistan. A week or so ago, Pakistan was shooting at our airplanes. The new government has forbid us to bomb the Taliban terrorist strongholds in that area. To go a step further, we have sent $10 million to a bus, the Palestinian king, and 2.5 years ago he was listed as a terrorist. His political party is pt5. It was listed as a terrorist organization. Then a few years ago, we gave $250 million to Ariel Sharon in Israel to move 7,500 Jews off of the Gaza Strip. And whenever that took place, Hamas moved in. We've got 2 states over there now, and one of them's a terrorist state, ruled by Hamas. We're giving Israel $50 million. And just recently, we're going to send millions to Georgia. I wonder why American taxpayers have got any interest in supporting Georgia. My question is, isn't it time for the Congress and the Senate to make a rule stopping any president, the Pentagon, or anybody else from dollars into these foreign governments without a total investigation and a total approval of any money we send out of this country by the Congress and the Senate?
Well, thank you, Mr. Anderson. I appreciate your calling in. Actually, it is the job of the Congress to appropriate the money. The President cannot send any money over unless the Congress has appropriated the money. Now, what the President can do is he is given some leeway in moving some monies around within categories, but it is the Congress that's been doing this. I'll tell you that I would, first, you haven't mentioned the United Nations, but I've always said my number one place that I would save money in this country would be in defunding the United Nations. I think we need to get out of the United Nations. We could save millions and millions of dollars there. I think the United Nations, if it's going to stay in business, ought to move to some less developed country. Get out of New York City, go to Africa or somewhere else where they could help the economy of that country by bringing in money. But the number one thing I would do is get us out of the United Nations. I think that, unfortunately, the United States has a terrible history of backing the wrong people. we get in, we back the Shah, then we didn't back the Shah. I mean, we go into countries all the time. At the end of World War I, we helped carve up Europe, and we did a lousy job of doing that. So our foreign involvement and our mistakes in foreign involvement go back a long way in this country. And I agree with you. We need to do something about all the money that we're giving into these governments and then seeing one person after another become corrupt, leave the country. I do support Israel. I think that Israel is our ally. It's our Israel is our most dependable ally in the world. They are fighting for their lives, and I do think that we have an obligation to help Israel. Israel is not a poor country anymore, but they have tremendous drain on themselves just to stay a free country, because it seems like everybody else in the world is gunning for them and gunning for us. But I do have problems with our funding other countries and trying to help them. It's always done with a positive plan. I mean, we go in, we want to help Georgia to defy Russia. We know that Russia is becoming a big threat again. We've helped Pakistan, and you're absolutely right. we can't count on them. That's because they don't know, they can't count on people in those countries. They are so lawless that one minute they've got people on their side and the next minute they're against them. So again, what the hope is, I think ultimately, is to bring stability to the Middle East, bring democracy. We start with Iraq, we're doing it in Afghanistan, and I think Afghanistan's ultimately going to be a success. But boy, there's a huge difference in that country and in Iraq. Afghanistan has never, ever had much in the way of security. They've never had much in the way of material possessions. And I think the same way in Pakistan. What we have to hope is by educating the people, they themselves are going to demand that from their governments.